All right. We're all right, we're recording and welcome to the recording of this session. I'm Christina Nicolaides and I'm here with Esther, who I forgot your title. Sorry, can you fill it in for me, please?
Yes, so hi everyone. My name is Esther Figueroa and I'm the Scholarships and Community Impact Officer for the Community Foundation for Monterey County.
Okay, awesome. And then we're also here with Julia and Rob Drezner, and they're telling us about the Drezner Family Scholarship Fund. And I'll turn it over to you, Rob.
Thank you, Christina. I had just been talking about the history of the scholarship and that it had begun about 5 years ago. We were offering 3 scholarships at $5,000 a year for 2 years for those students who are graduating from community colleges, moving on to 4-year universities. With our backgrounds, mine in psychology and Julie in philanthropy, we had, and also she's a social worker, we were very interested in funding individuals who were interested in the social sciences of some sort. That would include education, psychology, sociology, law, political science, moving into those kinds of arenas. Teaching was also
health and medical,
health,
nursing, yeah.
And so I was just saying that it started out at 3, we moved it to 5 last year, and this year we're going to grant 7 scholarships, each at $5,000 a year for up to 2 years. And the only requirements that we have are that you are graduating from the community college, moving on to a 4-year university of your choice. It can be a UC, it can be Yale or Harvard, Princeton. I mean, we've had people go there to these various types of places.
Cal State, Monterey Bay,
Cal State, Monterey Bay.
One of the Cal States, whatever, is going to work for you. But you're going after your bachelor's degree. So
right.
We're supporting you through the process of getting your bachelor's degree.
One thing that I will say about our scholarship is that we are a little hands-on because we recognize that there is some difficulties that people will encounter when they move off to a 4-year institution coming in as a junior. And really the reason for that is that as a freshman, there are a lot of support issues that go on for a 4-year college that aren't as easily obtainable by a 3rd-year student. And therefore, we try to stay in touch with our awardees in order to help them manage and go through the various aspects or difficulties that they may encounter so that we can sort of help them get through some of the issues that arise. I think that...
Well, and I think the other important thing is what we look for in selecting scholars. And while grades are important, it's not the most important thing. And the other thing is financial need is an issue that we look at. But we're really interested in supporting students that feel passionate about making a difference in people's lives, in their community, in some kind of, and we kind of, sometimes we use the word change agents, but really, if you're passionate about being a nurse, or if you're passionate about teaching, and you really want to do that, and those are the kinds of things that we look at. The other thing is, because we're interested in students that really want to give back and make a difference, we also are looking for, have you been involved in volunteering or community activities or leadership roles in organizations, even athletics and things that have gotten you involved with teams and with others and trying to make something happen. And so those are things that we look at, and clearly need, and having gone through things that, and so many of the students that we support have had obstacles in their way, and so we feel honored to be able to support that, support folks that need a hand up in some way.
There's one addendum to that I would add is that we are also DACA friendly. Additionally, and secondarily, we are also returning student friendly. So those individuals who may have started college, then dropped out for various reasons, financial, whatever it might have been. And then they return 5, 7, 10 years later, and they are invested and involved, and they want to get back into the universities. We have supported those people going forward as well. Yeah, so with all of that, we're available for questions from anybody that you might have about anything that we've said. Or
so our plan is that in a few minutes, so Esther is going to explain how you submit the application and the things that are required for the application. What we can talk to you about is how decisions are made about grant, who's going to, you know,
Right.
we usually get far more applications than we're able to support. We do have a committee. It's not Rob and I making those decisions. In fact, we're a minority on that committee.
And it's a diverse committee, by the way.
Yeah, and everybody has been really understands and shares the passion for providing scholarships to students that are going to make a difference. So why don't we stop talking? And if you have questions, we really are more than happy to answer questions you might have about how do we make these decisions and what do we look for? Did anybody, is there a chat in there? Let me see.
We have a chat, but I have a question.
On the chat, I wrote the link to the application so that you all have the link to know where to apply. And then I also provided my email just in case that you need any help with the application. But right now, please, I encourage you, if you have any questions about the scholarship, Julie and Rob are the persons that you need to ask. So don't be shy right now, please. If you have any doubts, questions, please ask. And I'll be talking about the application in a few minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna say it might be helpful, maybe everyone else knows this, but to have a little bit of an overview before specific questions. But up to you.
An overview of what? Is there a question that we didn't address?
I won't be applying.
Well, I was thinking, I guess kind of along those lines, but just like an overview of like, what does the form entail? So am I just giving information? Am I writing, well, not me, but is a student writing an essay? Okay,
Yeah.
you want to go over that later? Okay.
Esther's going to do.
Yes.
Okay.
Esther's going to go through all of that. What we can tell you is what we look for and who's going to get the funding or the, you know, in selecting the scholars. And somebody wrote, Davenport, that, oh, hi.
Hi there.
So if you care to say a little bit about why you don't think you fit, I mean, we're happy to share with you, or because we are flexible, but we do, our priority is supporting students that are going into health, human services, political science. You know, one time we funded somebody that was going into engineering, and it was really because of what his sense was about his purpose in life, and engineering was a part of that. And you know, so that was
he was a compelling individual. So we were able to kind of overlook some of the other primary considerations we had and expand it ourselves, because, you know, not all people come in the same size, and they impact society in their own different ways. Christina.
So I've had a lot of students, I'm sure I do now, maybe some people in this room, feel like, you know, I approach them and I say, hey, I think the scholarship might be a good fit for you. And maybe there's some kind of lack of confidence, or maybe they just don't feel like they're kind of a rock star. And so, they talk, like they hear things like, oh, contributing to the community. And I think it's really helpful to hear athletics. But for a student who, is currently going through COVID, like we all are and whatnot, what would you say to that student who feels like, I don't know if I'm like good enough to apply to this?
If you fit, well, I would just say, go for it. And the other thing is, the good thing is, if you apply through the Community Foundation for the Drezner Family Scholarship, your application will be forwarded to other scholarships that are at the Community Foundation that you would be eligible for, principally community college students going on to a 4-year college. And there are other scholarship programs through the Community Foundation. So your scholarship won't just be seen by us, assuming that you're eligible for one of the other scholarships as well.
That's a really good use of my time. Then I can apply to one scholarship and be, have someone send it on. Motaz, is that, I don't know if I pronounced your name correctly, so you're welcome to correct me. But in the chat, they asked, is nutrition major accepted?
Yes.
Sure. I mean, that's about trying to help people.
It's about health
and eating, and we're not just you don't have to fit in a narrow place, but also, I guess, Mataza, if you've also been doing things in your life to try to help people with health or physical, physical activity, those kinds of things, that it's really about the person also, that you're somebody who wants to do something that's going to help people. And you can show us or talk about some things that you have done.
We had one applicant who we funded, who won a scholarship from us, who wanted to be a special ed teacher. And while she did not exceed some of the criteria that we had set up and established for others that had applied, her heart was so impactful, and what she brought to the table in terms of who she was and what she wanted to do for these students, she just wrapped herself around us, and we just could not refuse her. So we gave a scholarship to her, and now she has obtained a job, and she's working as a special education teacher here in the county of Monterey.
Okay.
I wanted to get back to Mr. Davenport.
Yes.
You had raised the issue, and we had asked the question, but we weren't able to generate a response. And I don't know if you are wanting to do that.
Oh, I don't mind at all. Firstly, I want to thank you for taking the time to do this. This has been enlightening.
Oh, good.
I'm a reentry student. I'm in the process of reinventing myself for what I hope is all the right reasons. Life does not always go the way one plans, and some years ago I had an exceptional setback, and so I'm in a rebuilding phase.
Mm-hmm.
This is my first year at MPC, so I don't fit the graduating, moving on to a 4-year school model. That said, my goal is to get a 4-year degree and a teaching credential.
Huh.
Yes. For a great deal of personal reasons, which I shan't go into in this call. If there's an opportunity to take it offline, that would be great. That said, that's my goal. I have a 5-year plan, and hopefully I'll live long enough to see that plan actualized.
Yeah, we would welcome any conversation with you going forward. And I would encourage you to keep us in mind as you move forward at MPC.
Thank you so much.
You would not be eligible, however, until you're ready to transfer. So we're so when you're ready to transfer to a four-year college, so it may be a year, it may be, you know, for some people, I mean, one of the women that we supported, it took her 6 years because she was working full-time and doing it, but when she was ready, we worked with her to make sure that she got the scholarship. So
Yeah.
but you're right, until you're ready to transfer, you would not be eligible to apply.
Very good.
I want to jump in real quick. Davenport, hi, I'm Jay Luke. I'm the director of the Teacher Pathway Program.
Hi.
Hello. I've just dropped my email into the chat. I'll have to go here shortly. If you want to drop your email into the chat, I would like to connect with you.
It's a great program, and
Thanks.
we've funded several, both at Hartnell and
NBC.
MPC. And the good thing is that you can get your credential faster. So it's a great thing to do. That's a great.
Thank you for that.
I think that we need to move, unless there's more questions about what we're doing, I think really getting Esther to share the application would be a good idea.
And at this point, I'll thank you all for your time. I'm going to drop off.
Okay.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Okay.
And you too. Keep in touch.
Okay, so with that, I know all of you, a question that you have is how are you going to apply for the scholarship? So on the chat box, I already gave all of you the link so that you could create your account with the Community Foundation. The first step in creating your application is to create an account. So please make sure that you're using a personal email or an email that you actually use. I know in the past I have students who use emails that they don't really check, so that's not good. So please make sure that you're using a personal email. After you created your account, the application itself looks something like this. So do not get overwhelmed. You will see a lot of questions, but there are a lot of yes or no questions. And the reason for that, Julie already addressed that. It's because with this one application, you really have more than one scholarship opportunity. So in total, I believe the Community Foundation has over 50, right now it's over 50 scholarships. I don't know, no, actually, yeah, I do know, it's 57. So it's 57 scholarship opportunities. I'm not saying that you're gonna be eligible for all 57, but by completing the application, you're making yourself, you're getting yourself out there to see what scholarship opportunities you would qualify for. And the Drezner scholarship will be the one that all of you here today, or most of you, will be applying for. So once you set your account, the application itself, like I said, it's very simple. Your name, last name, some personal information. The questions to look for: are you currently enrolled at one of the schools? Please say MPC. So all of you right now are currently attending MPC. Please make sure that you signal that on the application. Then it's just gonna ask for some general questions. If you're first generation, yes or no, your dependency status. So this is just for the general application purposes. Right now, your current year in school, most of you will be either a second or third year if you're thinking of transferring. So please make sure that you click on the corresponding school year that you're in. You're gonna see high school GPA, but in your case, you would do your college GPA. Two things that the application will ask for: it's a copy of your transcript. So please make sure that you upload a copy. It could be an unofficial copy. Something to keep in mind: whenever you're uploading something to the application, it's very easy. All you have to do is just add a new document, choose a file, and then get a document wherever you have it on your desktop or your downloads. If for whatever reason you upload something that's incorrect, you will not be able to delete it. But the thing that you're gonna do to correct it is just re-upload a new file. And the way that you're gonna know that you have the correct file is because whatever new document you upload again should have. So if you save and keep editing, the new document that you upload, the correct one, should have a little check mark. So just please keep that in mind. Anything that you upload to the application, you won't be able to delete. but you'll know that it's right when it has the little check mark. Also, please make sure that everything that you upload is PDF. That's only because it makes it a lot easier on our end to be able to download it and make sure that we're reviewing the applications correctly. You will see some SAT, ACT scores. If you don't have those, don't worry, you could just put 0. Another thing that it will ask is a copy of your student aid report. By now, I'm pretty sure all of you know March 2nd was the deadline, for priority deadline for your FAFSA or DREAM Act application. So please make sure that you have that in hand. The way that you're going to retrieve this document, let's see if it works. First of all, this is what the document looks like. We don't need a copy of the entire document. We really just want to see the first page that has your expected family contribution. So the way that you're going to get your expected family contribution, or your EFC, which is this number here, it's by completing your FAFSA or DREAM Act application. The way that you're going to retrieve this document, if you completed your FAFSA, you're going to log into your account. Once you logged into your account, there will be a section that has view my student aid report, or my SAR. Make sure to click on it, save it as a PDF, and then upload it to the application. If you completed your California DREAM Act, it's exactly the same process. You're going to log into your DREAM Act account. When you go to the homepage, there will be some tabs at the top. You're going to click on view my Cal SAR, and that's going to give you the document that you need. Once you have that, make sure that you save it as a PDF and you upload it. And then you'll find other questions. Another important question to keep in mind, what's your educational goal? All of you want to get in, well, if you're transferring, you're getting your associate's degree and you're transferring to a 4-year institution. Remember, the goal is for all of you to be getting your bachelor's degree. The school that you're going to be transferring would be a 4-year, whether or not in California, that would be a school of your choice. Your major, as you heard, there is some preference to certain majors, so please make sure that you choose wisely when it comes to selecting what major you're going to have for the next academic year. Then it's just asking some other questions, if you're going to be full-time, if you're a student athlete, and if you play sports, and things like that. So as you could see, there's a lot of yes and no questions, and those are the questions that will match you up to other scholarship opportunities. So it's a lot of them, but like I said, it's just yes or no. And then you will find 2 essay questions. So please make sure that you take the time for the essay questions, only because that really gives the scholarship committee a little bit of an insight of who you are and just getting to know you a little bit better. So please make sure that you take the time to do this. If you're working, it does give you an option to upload a copy of your resume. This is optional. If you don't have one or you haven't been working, don't worry about it. You could just leave it blank. Any questions? I know I went through it pretty fast, but the application, like I said, it's pretty simple.
Did we have another question?
I do.
Yes.
We have a question in the chat. Was someone asking it already? Okay, so Emily asks, if we're transferring with units from MPC and another community college, should we include both grades or just the grades from MPC? Good question.
Both, and not only that, but if you have units from 2 schools, it should be reflected on your transcript, because whatever units you have should be going to the new school that you're attending. Also, this is just the general application, so please do not get confused thinking that once you finish and submit the general application, you're done, because you're not. This is the general application. Please make sure that you save everything that you do and that you submit it. After you submit it, so let's say for me, I'm done with my general application. I'm going to submit. Okay, so I didn't answer some of the questions, so it didn't let me. But when all of you are done with it, you're gonna go to opportunities and recommend it.
Yes.
And this is a very important step. Once you go to opportunities and recommend it, you're gonna see the list of scholarships that you may be eligible for. So for instance, in my application, I just randomly selected yes and no on some of the questions, but I did select yes to the questions that will match me up to the Drezner scholarship. So as you could see, this is an opportunity for me. You cannot see it because right here it has actions and it has none. But for all of you, once you submit the general application and everything is completed, it's gonna have an apply. So you're gonna click apply, and then it's gonna take you to the second step. The second step for this scholarship, very simple. It's just gonna ask you once again some questions, whether you're attending Harnell or MPC. It's gonna ask you, when do you plan to transfer? So fall 2021 would be for most of you, the list of schools that you applied to, and then what's your top pick for your school. Then also it does ask for one letter of recommendation. So the scholarship deadline is March 15, fast approaching. I really recommend that you get working on this as soon as possible, only because if you don't have a letter of recommendation, you wanna give whoever you're requesting a letter from enough time to do it for you. So please make sure that you get working on the application as soon as possible. That way you give yourself and your recommender enough time to complete this requirement. So any questions?
Esther, is it okay if people finding some questions coming up as they're trying to do the application, can they contact you? And what would be the best way to do that?
She gave
Yes.
I just want to.
So I already gave my email. I'll write it again. I know it might have gotten lost. So yes, please feel free to contact me if you're working on the application and you're getting stuck, or you don't know how to answer one of the questions, or you're having trouble uploading any of the documents, and I'll be more than happy to help you.
Yeah,
And
Okay,
email is the best way to contact me.
Oh, go ahead, Rob.
No, I was just going to say, gosh, Christina, in your earlier letter, or your email, you had indicated that you had received scholarships throughout your vocational or academic career, and how helpful that was. And while I did not receive scholarships, I did receive the GI Bill, which enabled me to fund my education. So outside financial sources are incredibly important. And they enable us to move forward in our lives in ways that we could not possibly imagine without them. So do not hesitate. Apply for every scholarship you can think of that you qualify for, and just go for it. No holds barred.
And the deadline is an issue that we sometimes people didn't have their letter of recommendation, but we would need it within a couple of weeks, because that's when the committee starts doing their evaluation. So anyway, that's just get started on it right away if you're going to do it. And it actually, the most, from my vantage point, the most important things is you need to make sure you've got your FAFSA. You need to make sure you've got your transcripts, and
Right.
and then answering all those yes, no questions, and 2 essays and a letter of recommendation. So it's and the essays are important, because that's that's really what a big part of what we read, and lets us know about who you are and your character, and what's important to you, and what obstacles you face. So it's important. So I think we've kind of hit our time.
But Christina, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I just want to answer 2 questions that are in the chat. And then I wanted to share just a really brief about scholarships in my life. So Emily asked, should we include unofficial transcripts from each school, and should we average our GPAs? I think the answer, Esther, is yes.
Yes.
Okay. And then the next question Mataz asked is this application different from the one on the MPC website? And there's a link there. And I think, yes, those are different. No, they're the same.
The MPC website on outside, for outside scholarships, will take you to first our site that describes our scholarship. So it describes the Drezner Family Scholarship interests, which is good for you to look at on the website of the Community Foundation. And then you go to apply, and that's when you get the application, and you go through that process that Esther was talking about. But the link that we put on the information, and also on that flyer that you included in the invite, is the link to the Drezner Family Scholarship
Directly.
description that describes what our interests are.
Okay, great.
Isn't-
Is it 2 applications? I think it's 1 application, but different ways to get there.
So it's one application. Remember, the first step is completing your account with the Community Foundation, which is this link. So it's the Academic Works link. So after you do this, the system will has a general application. This general application is what's going to be used to match you up to other scholarship opportunities. So this is a general application for all the scholarships that are at the Community Foundation website. The second step, however, would be to make sure that after you submit the general application, you go to opportunities and recommend it. This will give you those scholarship opportunities that you were matched with. So by you submitting just the general application, you haven't applied to any scholarship, you just submitted kind of like your interest form, just saying like, this is my information, I want to see if I get matched to a scholarship. After you go to opportunities and recommend it, then you're going to see your scholarship opportunities and the extra steps. Each scholarship will have a different step. For the Drezner scholarship, the extra step would be answering this 4 additional questions, which pretty much you should have is just what school you're going to, the list of schools that you applied to, what school is your top choice, and your letter of recommendation. So there's no extra essay, no extra nothing, just the letter of recommendation. And the deadline to do all of this would be March 15. If you do get matched to other scholarships, keep in mind that other scholarships have different requirements. So for instance, this scholarship does have additional things that you have to complete. So every scholarship will be different. That's why it's very important that as soon as you complete the general application, go to opportunities, recommend it, and click for the opportunities that you have as available to you.
And just one clarification, but all of the scholarships the scholarships that will show up for you are scholarships where you are eligible to apply because you're at a community foundation. I'm sorry, at a community college. And you're not in high school, because a lot of the scholarships at the Community Foundation also are for students going to high school and going directly to a 4-year. So, but the only ones, am I correct, Esther? The only ones that will come onto the site for you once you've submitted your general application are the ones for which you are eligible. But make sure that you do Drezner Family Scholarship first.
Yeah, so on your general application, you're gonna see that it is gonna ask what high school year are you in. So of course, all of you are not in high school no more, so you could just put your graduation year that you graduated from high school, and then just make sure that you select the current year that you're in school right now, whether you're a 2nd year or a 3rd year. And don't let this little like SAT scores throw you off. We know that you're not going to take them as a college student. Just answer the questions to the best of your ability. And if you get stuck or need any help, let me know and I'll be more than happy to help you.
Okay.
Christina.
Okay, great. Well, I just wanted to say, yes, Rob, I was fully funded from my undergrad. I fully funded with merit-based scholarships. I mean, I worked super hard in high school and was able, thankfully, to get a bunch of those. I was able to get need-based scholarships. I was able to get scholarships because I was first gen, and you bet that I was in my professor's office hours asking them questions, and and they're saying, hey, check this out, So then when it came time to apply to grad school, I had built-in mentors, and that was super helpful. And I was able then to apply to scholarships at that level as well. And now I have my PhD in not a small amount of student debt, but an amount that I can manage, and it's not a house payment. So, you know, ask your professors are here to support you. Adam, Emily, I'm here for you. Other people, you know. So yeah, I think at this point, let's wrap it up. A big thank you to everyone for showing up. Esther, Julie, Rob, thank you all. Thank you to the students for showing up, for asking questions. And this isn't the end of the conversation. You know, you can keep it going as you need to. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Christina.
Christina, for establishing all
Thank
this,
you.
Esther, your help, and everyone else who showed up today. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. You can